Right then, United have just lost 2-0 to Real Madrid in Houston. Me and John are here outside Liberty Call Distillery in downtown San Diego, right by the beach actually. This is the home of the San Diego Supporters Club, whose hospitality has been absolutely sensational, so shout out to those guys. And if you're ever in San Diego, I guarantee you're finding yourself in here, especially if there's a United game on. And for those who know me, this distillery has its own rum, so I've had a good old day. Me and John are going to talk about the game a little bit. So I'm gonna throw some stuff out there that I saw, and I want your opinion on whether you agree, disagree, or don't really give a fuck. So I thought it was quite an even game. I would say that, quite an even game. People are going to go, what? But I thought it was quite an even game. There was times where United elicited a lot of control. Real Madrid looked deadly on the counter-attack. That's almost their identity at the moment, is that they're an absolutely deadly counter-attacking side. And I think if we'd have had Kobbie Mainoo, this is, by the way, this is mental that I'm saying this, and even in my own head, I'm not sure I believe what I'm saying, but if Kobbie Mainoo had been on the field for the entire time, I think it might have been a problem for Real Madrid. Eriksen offers you next to zero when it comes to defensive output.
Absolutely.
And I think it became obvious where Amrabat would slot in. And we sort of tossed this idea around where we were like, I think Bruno might go on to the right a little bit in some of these bigger games. And obviously we lost Mainoo, hope he's all right, early doors in the game. So we never really got to see what I think Ten Hag was cooking. Right. But give me your thoughts on what I just said then. Do you agree or disagree, and maybe add a bit of flavour on it if you want?
No, I do agree in the sense that I think it was a lot more even than people might think of it to be. But I do observe and understand that Manchester United, the sharpness seems to have increased over the leg of the preseason. And I like to see that Erik Ten Hag needs to have that squad implemented. And you mentioned Amrabat there. That player needs to come as soon as possible. Christian Eriksen, I love him to bits. I think he is a fantastic player, and I think what he's offered for us, given his position in the years, it's been great. But when you saw Real Madrid counterattack there, we needed to close the gap quickly. We needed to show the intensity right in the transition in the middle of the park, but we were always either outnumbered or outgunned or outmanned, in midfield. And that's not just pointing or blaming it on Christian Eriksen, but you do need that industry overall.
Yeah, it felt like Ten Hag had a plan for this.
Yes, absolutely.
And obviously that got taken away with the injury.
Exactly. I think Kobbie Mainoo, I'm so gutted because this was a perfect opportunity for him to show up and just say, look, I'm here to ball. We saw in the preseason, we saw in all the games that he's featured, he looks cool. Like, he looks calm. The age doesn't matter. He just looks so on it, and I love that about Kobbie Mainoo, and I just hope that the injury is not that big of a deal because I love to see him still play throughout the rest of the tour, and of course, against Las Vegas.
Don't you think it's absolutely bananas that we're sitting here talking about how Kobbie Mainoo might have made a difference against Real Madrid?
Not incredible, but it just goes to show. No, for real, it just goes to show. At the end of the day, if you show up, because you can see it. There's something about the way he moves. We saw that last season with Garnacho. We saw glimpses of that with Pellistri, but you see it with Kobbie Mainoo. You just see that he has what it takes to. He's ready for it, and I know preseason might be an opportunity for a lot of the older heads to get game time in and get a run in, get the blood flowing through their legs. But for me, Kobbie Mainoo has probably been the sort of the name, the star, the standout name for this preseason. I couldn't be any more excited for him this season.
Someone else that's had a bit of a development over the last 12 months, shocking development actually, because I would have put so much money on him getting the bin when Ten Hag came in, and that's Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Because today I saw Aaron Wan-Bissaka playing 1 and 2 touch. Right, not just playing 1 and 2 touch. Playing 1 and 2 touch under pressure against Real Madrid and looking cool and smooth with it. It appears to me that he's become Erik Ten Hag's first choice right back.
Absolutely. I think that's been solidified. And we saw that last season after the World Cup when he came in. The whole the ball playing thing, you didn't really see post-World Cup, but you saw that grow in. And I think that has a lot to do with Aaron Wan-Bissaka's confidence and the way they play. I don't think Manchester United love to invite pressure as much as we did in the past. And Erik Ten Hag, he likes to show up for it. And I think Aaron Wan-Bissaka, that fits him and suits him. Like last season, there was a time when him and Jadon Sancho, I forgot who it was, but they were playing 1-2s in between Man City like it was a fucking joke. And I've always rated Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I just feel like he's just been finally getting the justice that he deserves, and I want to see more of that.
I think his game's developed. I don't think he had it.
Nah.
I think when he first joined, there was times when he was in possession on his own, and he didn't look like he knew what to do.
Yes, but like I just feel like the confidence was there. So the confidence wasn't there for Aaron Wan-Bissaka. It's of course like from you see the way his legs moves, especially when he was not on it, when he was looking poor. His legs flail a little bit. He just looks like he lacks his body control. There's not that much like groundedness in terms of the way he runs, in terms of the way he takes the touch. But of course, I think he's improved under Erik ten Hag. If we had to pick players in terms of who really improved the most under Erik ten Hag, I think he's one of the top 3 in terms of most absolutely influence under a manager like Erik ten Hag.
So we saw the debut today of Andre Onana. We saw him rushing out the box. We saw him make maybe a couple of decent saves. I don't think he was at fault for either of the goals. No. Give us a bit of a thought on how you thought he performed and what his impact might be on the team after what we saw tonight.
There was a situation, I forgot, it was sometime in the second half where Onana and I think Licha had a bit of a sort of misunderstanding. There was a lack in communication. As soon as the ball went out, they were already in full dialogue. They were already sort of robust, and that energy I love, because you know Andre Onana is a player that he's ready for the challenge. He's relishing it. You could see it there. And I know it's a friendly and whatever, but him stepping out, there was I forgot who it was. It might have been like Nico Paz or whoever it was. He was pressing Onana, and he kind of like shimmied with his leg, and I love it. It's just he oozes confidence. Sometimes that might be a little bit over the top, and I guarantee you, fans need to understand that we're going to probably see some of those moments in this season, and we're going to have to get used to that. But there is that balance that needs to be struck, and we're going to need to get on with these things. And him right here looking like a DM, chesting the ball, heading the ball, like I love that. I can't wait to see more of him.
I like how he carries himself.
Absolutely.
He couldn't find a fuck to give about what anyone thinks about himself. He is coming fresh out of the box. Andre Onana, brush the shoulder. Let's just fucking roll and see what happens. Outside of that, I thought United competed really well, and that's why I said I thought it was a lot closer of a game, and really disappointed we didn't get to see what Ten Hag was planning. But I think the lack of a striker is obvious, and I think if United now finish off this window by going into the market, pulling out a striker and pulling out Amrabat, I don't really see where the weaknesses in this team are. I will give a special shout out to Anthony. You disappointed us, I think, again. There's so many times Anthony's coming inside, having those shots, and it almost feels wasteful at this moment in time. I do think he can get to a level where he can be very productive. I think the price tag was probably overinflated in a big way for him, but we paid for him, and I think that skewed the expectations a little bit. Mm-hmm. But there's not a lot of weaknesses in this side, is there? And particularly in a big game, if you want to move Bruno over to the right and obviously make it fluid and Mount and that. Striker, midfielder, happy days?
You mentioned the weakness. So let's say, for example, I mean, Harry Kane, I feel like that's going to be a battle that's going to drag on until the entire summer. But, for example, I want to toss a question to you, Steve. What if we get somebody like a Højlund? Do you think that weakness is sort of addressed if we bring somebody like Højlund? I like Højlund, but I don't think he's ready.
Right. It's not just about the goal scoring. I think his goal scoring record's been underplayed a little bit. But I think it's what he offers in the build-up, what he offers in terms of leading the line, what he offers in terms of penetration. United have got players who can cross the ball into the box really well. Yeah. We don't have anyone in the box getting on the end of it. Right. And I think that's a massive thing that you'll see elevated as soon as we get that. And he doesn't have to be the greatest striker the world's ever seen. He's just got to be a bit of a focal point, someone who can bring it down, bring others into play. Look at the players that you can bring the ball down to. You have Mount next to you, Bruno next to you, Rashford over here. Like, you're going to have so many options. And I think that's what United really like. We're doing so well up until the final third. Right. And then in the final third, it kind of falls apart a little bit. And I think you bring in a striker, you make a massive difference to that.
I agree. So spot on. And I know Rasmus Højlund has been the hot topic. He's been somebody that Manchester United fans have been looking at for a very long time. But I think we have to understand that Manchester United always needs to be sort of supplied in supple numbers in all departments. I mean, under Sir Alex Ferguson's days, we always had 4 strikers. We've always had 4 forwards that are relishing the challenge and the opportunity. We've had Vegas, and all due respect to Adam, I don't want him to hear it, but Anthony Martial has been absolute
shite.
Yeah, is that the way you say it? No, I'm being for real. Like, we need more than just the Højlund. You know what I mean? We need to move more. We need to be a little bit more bold, and we need to make sure that Erik ten Hag's going to be supplied with the proper numbers. You know what I mean? Like, we saw in there, like, we are lacking that 9. And for me, I don't care if people think Højlund's going to be, underperforming, or he's going to be, not good enough. I believe in the kid, and I think he's a fantastic talent, and I'd love for him to join so that we can at least have, like you mentioned, a focal point. It's going to be important.
Righty. One more game to go.
Yep.
See you all in Vegas and that.
Woo!
In a bit.